before we even start, let's just get one thing straight from the beginning. We are the world's best four-wheel driving channel, aren't we, Martin?
World's best.
Now, there's a lot of imitators out there. There's some people out there, they're four-wheel driving 24 hours a day, not us.
No.
We are four-wheel driving 25 hours a day.
25.
8 days a week.
8 days.
8 days, I tell you. You know the Beatles song, 8 days a week? That's about us.
It's about us.
8 days a week.
100%.
Mighty Mods drive their four-wheel drive
All
through
out.
the creek, and I can tell you that when Ringo's on the Pingos, he loves nothing more than smashing the skin while getting into a good old session of dirt squirting. Isn't that right, Martin?
That's right, mate.
How are you doing, mate?
Energised.
Now, mate, I like nothing more than starting my day by just diving straight into a filthy mud pit, finishing off and then hosing off all the mess. I love nothing more.
The biggest, muddiest hole you can find.
Absolutely, mate. You fill it, you get out, and then off you go. But there's a lot of people out there imitating, mate. They're trying to do these YouTube channels all about four-wheel driving, but they don't know what they're doing, which is why we are the home of everything you need to know about four-wheel driving. The #1 four-wheel driving channel on the internet. So, tell you up, Lockie, grab yourself a shit beer and settle in for the best four-wheel driving content on the internet. When you want to get yourself a mad sick rig to go off-road, you can go buy the most expensive sick rig on the internet, or you can do it the world's best four-wheel driving channel does. You buy the cheapest dual cab HiLux in Australia, and then you make it the best vehicle in the whole suburb. You put your muddy tyres on it for going down to KFC.
Tick.
And then you put a whole bunch of other shit on it, most of which you're probably not even going to need.
You clean it up, which is what we did. We've done a couple of videos on cleaning this thing up. We got it cheap and cheerful, people, and we fixed it, and we've been driving around. It's a pretty sick rig, but not sick enough.
Look what we got here. One for me, one for my peeps.
It won't stay in gear. I'm going to energise it. It's going to work so good now. It doesn't actually stay in gear. That's the main problem we have with this thing. Third gear is crunchy and noisy. First, third, fifth, not happy. Won't even stay in first. You try and back up and then you go back into it. Is popping out all over the place and not in a good way like that.
Yep. So the first thing we...
What? What? Cheers.
Cheers, mate. We're going to put this gearbox in it. No, we're actually going to fix the gearbox, and then we've got a whole table full of modifications. Have a look. Don't have a look.
When I went and picked up the gearbox, I got it from ACM Parts, and they said, have this intercooler. And I'm like, great, I will. Apparently this is a sick mod for HiLux as well, but most importantly, we've got our gearbox. We do have to get our original gearbox out, and we have to put our transfer case on the back. A transfer case is a thing that makes all four wheels go around.
Now, when you're working on a HiLux, what you actually need is a BMW expert to help you out. Yes. And luckily for you, we've got a BMW expert right here. It's Lawrence from Brintec. Hey Lawrence, how you doing? You might have seen him on the interballs before. He helped us with our LS BMW E30 conversion. Why is he helping us with the HiLux? I have no idea, to be honest. Martin, why is he here?
Don't know.
Okay, no one knows. But together...
Oh, no. He's got a dirty old Toyota.
Does he?
I was asked my mates, does anyone have a dirty old Toyota and know how to change a gearbox? And Lawrence said, I love dirty old Toyotas. I'm like, you're our man, let's go. So he's going to give us a hand.
So there you go, for all the BMW owners out there, the guy that runs the kind of premier BMW tuning shop owns a Toyota.
And a tank, and trucks, and excavator engines. I don't know, don't understand it, but you should click the thing. There's a link down there if you want to see it.
There is a link, and Lawrence actually works with Tony, who recently made waves on the internet. That doesn't work. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. There's nothing there. Works at Brintec with Lawrence. Anyway, hello, how you going? Let's change a gearbox. Cheers. Have a shit beer. Shit beer, we sell these. You can buy these from the Mighty Car Mods website, shitbeer.org. A portion of this goes towards helping those that can't get clean water. So some of that goes to charity. Check it out. Plus, don't give your mates your good beer. Make sure you give them a shit beer. All right, let's do it.
Why do people drink this stuff?
I don't know, man.
Everybody, this is Nah. Heaps better. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. What can you tell me about HiLux gearboxes?
Well, this is just the gearbox end. As you said before, we've got to put the transfer case on the back.
Yep.
So hopefully there's 5 gears in there that turn and don't get stuck or pop out of gear.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll have a look around it. I think I saw a seized throw-up bearing on there and a few other bits and pieces we'll have a look at.
And we need a clutch.
We definitely need a clutch. We've got one coming.
Yes. So this thing's got 390,000 Ks on it.
So it's still getting run in then.
I mean, that's the good thing about HiLuxes, I guess. So there's a good chance that box is just thrashed, right, from being driven forever.
Yeah.
But popping out of first and third being not right and fifth being not right, does that tell you anything internally about what's going on?
Look, a lot of what happens, people go forward driving and then they go through water. There's breathers on boxes, so water and moisture gets in, and they don't look at their oil until way down the track or ever. And then you just get all this milk in there and all sorts of things happen. So we'll see what comes out of that when we get it up in the air.
Up in the air, rip the box out.
Yeah, sweet. Let's get into it.
I headed down to ACM Parts in a ute with a working gearbox, this Isuzu D-Max that I got loaned. ACM had a good second-hand replacement on the shelf ready to go, but I would have to reuse the existing transfer case. As a bonus, they also threw in an intercooler, which is an excellent upgrade for our HiLux.
Gearbox acquired, finally. Really hard to find, not exactly cheap. ACM Parts hooked us up, which is pretty cool. Massive parts distributor down in southwestern Sydney, but they do stuff all over Australia.
Replacing a gearbox isn't nearly as fun as pulling Shazza's bog patrol out of a muddy bog hole on the Easter weekend with your mates cheering you on, because patrols always get stuck. It's a fact. As most people would know, it's hard to pull anything without a working box. Our current one's been getting progressively worse over time. The thing's shagged, so it's safe to say this box is rooted. We're going to rip the bastard out, but first we need to drain the fluid, remove everything that's in the way like the exhaust, and then unbolt the various shafts so we can get the thing out. Lastly, we can peel back the rubber around the gear stick and remove both the shifter and the transfer case selector. What a disgusting looking combination of parts, isn't it? Looks like some kind of GIMP apparatus. Look at that little plug there, little rubber here, little beady looking thing over here. The transfer case also has oil in it, so that's getting drained too. Then we need to unbolt the thing from the back of the engine. In this case, it's mostly done from underneath, but there's some tricky bolts at the top, which are going to need a few extension bars to get to. Once it's unbolted, we can drop it down on a transmission jack. With the gearboxes next to each other, we can add anything that's required to go on our new gearbox from the old one and get it ready for a new clutch, which I'm going to pull off the back of the motor. How good's this? Alright, so the clutch is off now that is in the bin. Next up, flywheel coming off, but you want to make sure you protect your ear balls when you're taking things like this off because it can be particularly noisy. I'm using the big Ryobi 1 HP brushless DAC. It's got multiple different levels of power, including automatic with a 19mm. I'm going to use this. It'll make easy work of taking these off. Check this out. Gone. This isn't looking good. That's not looking good. This isn't looking good, it doesn't move. This isn't good. As you can see, everything's looking great.
You aren't going to get any cred at the campsite just because your car works properly. For that, you need mods. And since this is the world's best four-wheel driving channel, that's exactly what we're going to serve up, like a campfire cooked prawn cocktail.
So we're waiting on our clutch, so we can't actually do anything more with our gearbox swap until that arrives. So we're going to move on to the next job, which is the Snorkel. This one here we ordered online from Supercheap Auto. We have done one of these installs before on the Jimny, but basically we're going to cut some holes, screw some stuff in, and then it means we get to do some hectic water crossings because you're not off-roading unless you're in watering. You know what I mean, Martin? Yeah. If you find yourself facing a deep, stinking, wet, soggy bog hole, it's always best to make sure you can still get some oxygen. And the same thing goes for cars. We've got this Snorkel, which in Australia is called a Shnork, and we ordered this one in from Supercheap Auto. Being that a Shnork can be the difference between a running engine and a drowned engine, it's worth getting yourself a decent one. This attaches to our factory airbox, which will require a fair amount of modifications, including drilling, cutting and customisation. However, these give you huge street cred and will ensure you always draw a massive crowd in the Harris Farm car park.
Now, if the idea of running your engine underwater sounds crazy, it's worth remembering, particularly on a diesel engine, that they will run while submerged, maybe just not forever. A Shnork helps keep large amounts of water from rushing into the intake, which is trying to suck in air. A typical ute might have a wading depth of around 800mm, and this is usually dictated by the intake height. You can increase this depth with a good Shnork setup, but if you go too deep, eventually there's a good chance you'll just float away.
Still waiting on our clutch. Weather's pretty hectic outside, so that might have something to do with it, but it's given us time to do our snorkel. We're about halfway through. We've drilled a lot of holes, we've cut a lot of stuff out, and now we're attaching a lot of things. Marty's slazzed up all over this, and then we're going to pretend to require this modification to go through the water and mud that we will never drive through. It's true. No, but we are going. We're going to, because we've got a big off-road mission to a special place. You're coming with us. We don't know where it is. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But we're going to install this, and then we'll look cool when we drive around. Hey, Lawrence.
You got a whizzer? Where's the whizzer?
Copious amounts of schmoo, that's Aussie for sealant, goes on the car, the airbox, and everything else to keep it sealed. This is the kind of job you don't want to get wrong, because it will be the job you think back to when your four-wheel drive is sinking. While that all sets, we're going to chuck the rest of our gearbox back together, install the transfer case, put our new flywheel on, and torque up the bolts to the correct specifications, because that's the other job you'll think about when your flywheel pops into your footwell for a visit.
Clutch has arrived. It's going in. It's some kind of single mass conversion, I don't know, HiLux thing. All I know is it works the exact same way as all our clutches in all other vehicles. So it's going in, we're going to put the cover on, we're going to smash the gearbox on, and then hopefully this thing will just work. Noise-free, much better.
I can tell you from experience that when you are buying the cheapest shit off the internet, which is what I spend most of my life doing, you need to lower your expectations. And
Also
that's
true.
never been more true than with this HiLux. It was the cheapest HiLux in Australia, hence why gear 1, 3 and 5 didn't work. Now, being a HiLux, it's never going to be as capable as a real car anyway, like a Ranger or an LDV or an Amarok, but it's true, you know it, it's true, but you still need to at least know that your gears are going to work and your car is going to get you where you need to get it to go. People buy HiLuxes for the badge. They definitely don't buy them for the ride. That's badge with a B. Now, the gearbox is in. Martin, good job. I just hit my head on the hoist. That is in. So next up, we got the drive shafts are going, the forward and the rear drive shaft.
Yep.
And then
Shifter.
we're going to be turning this thing up, people. So we've got a full turbo back exhaust.
Full turbo back exhaust. We've got a new intercooler for it as well. And we are going to be retuning it. So I'm pretty keen to see what will happen, because currently it is so slow. Slowest dual cab I've ever driven. Just sucks. So let's see if we can fix it, right?
And are all HiLuxes this bad? Are they?
Your 4-litre one was
I had the Workmate Space Cab.
Different thing,
That's
though.
the best HiLux Toyota's ever made. That was awesome.
I had the 2.7 petrol one. That did good skids.
It goes hard.
Yeah. But this one, so far, disappointing, but we're going to fix it.
We're going to attempt to fix it anyway. So we got a full exhaust. That's what I'm about to do. That's going to be rad. And then we got a whole bunch of mods and stuff to do. So obviously it continues. Yesterday it took us a little while to get our clutch delivered, but now that is in, done. Yep. So today the modifications continue. And then of course the snorkel, all of that, we had to slaz all of that, all the holes that we cut up in the car there. The slaz is now dried up, so we're ready to install that. And then we can go do some water crossing. Do they call it wading?
Wading. Try not to float.
I mean, I know it's called wading because you're on the world's best four-wheel driving channel. I was just tricking you to get comment engagement.
Some WD-40 silicone spray and my handy exhaust hanger removal tool make short work of the old festy exhaust, which is going in the bin. Then we can unbox our mad shiny new stainless steel exhaust that's 3 inches for big flow and mad spooly diesel noises that are gonna echo throughout the bush. Who needs to hear the wildlife when you can hear turbo noises? Kookaburra, more like turbo flutter. How good's this?
Martin, the more we work on this car, the more it's growing on me. I actually think this could end up being one of the most versatile, best cars we have in the fleet.
Ain't you taking the piss?
No. Does. Can do everything the Lavorg's going to do. No, other than the performance bit. And you got a tray.
The show, we make a
food.
show called Mighty Car Mods, and the words that came out of our mouth were, other than the performance bit, what else matters?
What I'm saying is...
Like...
I'd be clear, I don't hate it. Like, I get it. Like, I fully understand why they exist. If I had a farm or something, or like, this is just what you drive around.
Yeah.
Or a Ranger, as you said, which you say are better.
Yeah.
Which is controversial.
They are better. You know they're better. No, you know they're better. And Amarok's better than all of them.
Oh,
but that's a different story.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the more we do to it, the more I like it.
But that's the same when we modify anything.
Yeah.
Isn't that why we modify it? Because then you like it more?
Yeah. But are you liking it more too?
I'm currently reinstalling drive shafts
Yeah.
with uni joints that have grease nipples, like because it's 1960.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no. You're doing the fun bit. You're doing the fun bit, but I would like to reserve the right to install the intercooler. So I feel like I've done something performance-based. Thanks, a nice cuddle.
Thanks, mate.
Performance-based intercooler. When it's got the intercooler airbox, it's making mad whooshy noises, big exhaust, tune in it. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's still not going to stop very well. It's still not going to handle very well.
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at lift kits and other stuff.
If there's like a graph like this, a scale, and modifications go up and enjoyment goes up, they are like that.
Yes.
Until they go like that.
Yes.
And that's because
I think much like a lot of people, I'm enjoying myself because I like working on cars. Do I like servicing cars? Like changing a clutch versus putting an exhaust on. Like most people would be like, yeah, exhaust, because you get something cool out of it. And a clutch is like, well, you wear it out, then you put another one in. Ours is better, which is cool, and we needed to do it, and now it'll drive nicer.
What it's made me appreciate, though, is that because neither of us are qualified mechanics, and we often say big appreciation to those people who are actually keeping the country
100%.
moving, by the way.
100%.
What it's made me realise doing this, working on four-wheel drives is harder. Everything's bigger, everything's heavier, everything's dirty. So if you are the person that's actually working on this stuff, number one, thank you.
Mad props.
For keeping the world moving. And then also big technology, trucks, trains, like ferries, boats, tanks. Are you a mechanic working on them? Thank you, because I don't think people realise actually how much the world relies on you to keep things moving. So seriously, thank you, because otherwise we're in trouble.
For everyone who puts their four-wheel drive like this through a mud bog and then takes it to a service place and says, why is the service expensive? Like, that guy's getting covered, or woman, whatever, is getting covered in mud.
Yeah, it's getting covered in
grease
stuff.
and shite. Like, yeah, that's not that pleasant. But it's a good feeling fixing it, which we're nearly there. It's nearly fixed.
What's interesting about doing like hatchbacksy, like performance-y cars, you can do a drop-in panel filter, takes 2 minutes. You can do like a cold air pod filter situation, 10 or 15 minutes. I reckon this Snorkel intake that we're doing, we had 3 of us working on it. I reckon one person, it's a day's job. Someone out there is, oh, I can do it in 3 hours. Yes, maybe you can because you do it all the time. Cutting up your car's panels, drilling the holes, slazzing it, waiting for the glue to dry, it's a big job. So possibly when you go to a shop and you pay to get your modification done, maybe there's more to it than you realise, and that's why it seems expensive. Of course you can DIY, but for those that can't, when you're paying someone to modify your car, that person you're paying is probably, hopefully, doing a good job, and that's what you're paying for.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm going to get back to doing this mad exhaust.
I'm nearly
Martin,
done.
you just
I'm
get
nearly
back to doing what you're doing.
Nearly done.
When we're talking about exhaust, you're going to see the best results with a full turbo back system on just about any car. Often the most restrictive part is the dump pipe, sometimes because it's got emission stuff in it, and sometimes because the factory was just penny pinching. We're going to unwrap this HiLux's banana by allowing more exhaust flow, which we'll create when we tune it and turn up the boost. More air, more fuel, bigger bang, and more power to keep you hard through every soggy bog hole that you come across.
Regardless of whether you've got a petrol car or a diesel car, when it's turbocharged, one of the most important aspects is getting air in and getting air out. So a good, quick, fairly easy change is doing an exhaust upgrade, unless your HiLux has done 3 million kilometres and all of the bolts going to the dump from the turbo are seized like ours. But this is an Ultrex turbo back stainless steel exhaust. So we are going from a 2.5 inch centre diameter to a 3 inch, measuring that of course on the new Mighty Car Mods measuring tape, black on black. You can see down here the catalytic converter has been moved. It's kind of obviously a more performance oriented cat. It's been moved slightly, going all the way down here. Massive muffler section down here. This is replaced with just a little hot dog here, so the car will be a little bit louder, and also because we're going to have that Snorkel, hopefully we get some kind of mad turbo noises out of there as well. And then all the way down here at the back, it just has this pipe section that goes straight out the back of the car. So all of that stuff is really easy with some WD-40 silicone and basic tools. You can get that on. What we've just got to do now is wind in the studs and the nuts, 3 of them on the front, because basically we're converting this little piece here that connects into here. That there is just becoming one piece like that. We also might need to plug some holes, and I don't know where that is meant to go. So anyway, still working out a couple of things. Marty's just finishing on the drive shafts, and then we're going to install this, and then we can start it up and have a listen. I'm not actually 100% sure if the original factory muffler has a cat in it or if this is a DPF. New one, the exhaust is available with or without cat. Obviously ours has a cat in it. This one here, I'm not sure, but doesn't actually matter anyway because that one there is going in the bin.
That is a massive pipe, and I reckon if you hold your big pipe with 2 hands, and I stick this thing through the hole, and then I nut on the back of it, that will work perfectly.
No, but you have to, take that off because I just went through the front hole here and I actually had to flip it over so I can go from behind.
What about the rubber though? But no, hang on, you've got the dick thing.
No, because if that goes in that way from the front, that doesn't work, so you've got to flip it over. Like that, go in from behind, and then there's room for you as well.
No, but the rubber's not. You need to spray the rubber more.
No, I already did. No, I already did. Yeah,
look at that.
It's dripping. So look, if I go in, it's way tighter on the back.
Just push it really hard.
There we go.
Stick this nut.
Oh, it's just come out the end.
Hang on, if I go.
No, take your nut out.
Wait, no, the bolt's got to go through that hole.
Yep.
And then once you do that, move it into position.
Yep.
Cool. I've got the rubber thing.
I'll hold that.
It went through.
Yep. Now you go on.
One nut on the back.
Oh wow, it's tight up
great,
isn't it?
That. But it's a really good fit, which is exactly what you want, isn't it?
And it's also surprising sometimes because we've had some mixed results with stuff that's meant to be bolt-on, which is not actually bolt-on.
Bolt-on, but that's
I got you some more things to stick in there.
Dang. Look at that.
That's great.
Nice, man.
I'm actually looking forward to hear it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say I'm looking forward to hearing a diesel HiLux.
Diesels sound so good.
No, they don't. They sound terrible.
The underside of our car is looking great. The gearbox is done, the drive shafts are done, and our mad exhaust is now in place. So next up, it's time to upgrade our intercooler.
Oh, diesel sounds wacky.
Sounds really different. That should sound better though.
How's this one though? Oh, dude. You know what they say, Martin?
Yep. What do they say?
Climbing over a big rock in your Amarok.
Oh, right.
You heard that?
No, I heard the becoming a father in the back in Navara.
Oh, that's great.
Is it?
Is it?
Oh, well,
Sounds a bit great.
this one is covered in soot, and it reminded me that it says diesel soot gets the foot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought it was diesel grunt gets you in front, like you're in front of the race.
There's so many good sayings, isn't
So many. This is what four-wheel drive culture is about. It's
Diesel related.
It's what the off-road community is all about, Martin.
Well, it's how
isn't
they
it?
bond.
It is.
They bond through these, like, you know, kind of cultural, you know, sayings and
activities in the back of their utes.
Exactly.
An intercooler is an excellent stage 2 upgrade, especially when you get a second-hand one for free. This unit is way better than the factory one and will help support the engine when we page up for more boost. With the intercooler installed, we can get back to finishing off our Snorkel. It's important to make sure when you're installing something like this that the whole system is sealed so that when we're ploughing through a dirty bog hole there's no leaking, because that would result in a game over situation for our mad HiLux. The modified factory airbox is going back in, and then the Snorkel shaft can be inserted.
We're just about done on the outside of our HiLux with all our mods. Now it's time for an interior mod, something a little bit different. But I've been using this system called Quadlock for a while. It's an Australian company that make phone cases, which also work with your magnetic charging for iPhones and Samsungs and all that sort of stuff. They make mounts like this. And so they saw we were using it and they're like, can we send you a bunch of stuff and help support the show? And we're like, sure can. So this is a Quadlock mount like what we normally use. I also use these in track cars to do track timing as well, because you can attach your phone. This one's a magnetic one. You can also get ones that do rotate and lock, hence the name Quadlock. And away it goes. You can then plug in a charger into that. They also have vent mounts if you want one that's completely removable easily and you don't want to put it on the windscreen, and adhesive ones so you can stick it on top of your dash. So in this case, what I'm going to do is do something like this. Attach it on, it locks on. There you go. You can adjust on the back here to move it around, and then
you can get your cable, which in my case is here, and bang, you're charged, car playing, you're doing all that sort of stuff. Pretty mad system. So this is going to stay in the HiLux, and we're going to put our shifter back in so we can drive it.
Now that we can both navigate and call Shazza and Wally hands-free, we can rest our hand on the shifter like a proper manual driver. It goes back into the box and is secured with a snap ring. Don't forget the rubber boot or the bog water will be dribbling down your leg on your next crossing. Our gearbox is getting a healthy dose of Castrol Syntrax, then we can put the wheels back on and we're ready to drive.
There it is. Thanks for watching. That is how you build a four-wheel drive, isn't it, Martin?
Truck, yes it is. Absolutely. HiLux, what a thing. Like, look at it. Looks tough. It's got a big Snorko. G'day, mate. Snorko in there. It's got a big exhaust on it. Big 3-inch jobby.
We got our big barring up. We got this little Doinga unit.
Yeah.
So, Martin, it's time to have a listen to it now.
We've got all the fluids in it. We've got a new gearbox, people. Well, by new, we've got like an old gearbox that we put some new oil in, so hopefully the oil stays inside it, and the gears do too.
Let's see if it starts, Martin. Let's see if it works, and let's see if it makes
got my
those excellent diesel turbo noises that we love so much.
Seriously, cross your fingers though, because I have no idea if this is going to work. Here we go. That sounds all right.
Give it a little bit, Martin.
That's pretty good.
It's making some little turbo noises.
Yeah, it sounds whooshy.
Great.
I'm keen to see if it goes any better.
This is where we're meant to check the gearbox.
Yeah, we will
But
later.
I think we're done.
We're done.
So that'll be coming up next time. And then also some more power next time we look at the HiLux. Wouldn't it be like at least semi-professional to test it?
Yeah.
But we're not going to?
No, I want to bleed the brakes again.
Okay.
Brakes on this suck, man. We're going to bleed the brakes again. If we're even going anywhere near more power, which we will,
yeah,
I'm just going to bleed them and actually check it to be professional and safe.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching another episode from the world's best four-wheel driving channel. You got Muzza and Muzza over here.
Bazza.
And we hope you're enjoying it. It's a sick rig. How good is this? We're going to be taking it out on some adventures soon. Yeah. But then, you know, some people are into like little hatchbacks that are like mad and fast and from Japan and other countries. Not us. But that's pretty much what you are going to see on the next episode of the world's best four-wheel driving channel. There's some front-wheel drive nuggets.
I hope so.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you do want to support the show, you can go to mightycarmods.com. And if you want to buy something, we'll send it to your door. Anywhere in the world. Our shit beer coolers that I showed you before, and if I was professional, I'd show you some of the money from those goes to helping people get clean water. So please consider getting yourself a shit beer stubby holder. Thanks, everyone.
Signing off.
Signing off.
See you later.
Let's go eat a steak.
Mug boggin'.